Guys, I am just prepping a batch to be made, and I thought I would chat a little bit while I do this prep work. So I have some blue clay that I just put into my fragrance oil. This is a special batch that I am making specifically for my family, and you'll see why in a minute. This clay is absolutely amazing. A soapy friend from one of my soap groups introduced me to this clay, and it's just amazing. So this pitcher, this stainless steel pitcher, and the clay, I got both of those on Amazon. A lot of my things I have gotten on Amazon as I've expanded, but I really started off small, guys. I really did. I mean, I'm still growing. It's not like I'm a multi-million-dollar company, but starting soap making, I think sometimes we think we have to have all these fancy things and, you know, the $500 soap cutter or whatever, but we really don't. You can start very, 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 very basic and grow as you feel it's time. So there's that. I'm gonna let that sit because clay soaks up fragrance, and this is gonna soak that fragrance up while I'm working on my other stuff. And I am gonna put my gloves on because I'm gonna do my lye. And my lye solution today is a bit different than normal. I am actually using breast milk for this. I know that weirds some people out, but really, if you think about it, any milk that you use, any milk, is from a creature or living thing of some kind. Whether it's cow's milk or goat's milk or even almond milk, you know, it came from a plant. So at one point, it came from something that was alive. And so I don't think this is weird, but I know sometimes people are like, oh, that's gross. Why would you do that? But it's really, really, really good for sensitive skin. And I never do this for anyone except myself, my family, or people that I know. Since this is such a small batch, I'm putting all the lye in right off the bat. If this was a bigger batch, I would be adding this tiny, 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 tiny little bit pieces at a time. My milk is completely frozen. I also have some ice in there. And why it is frozen is because this lye warms things up significantly and it's going to melt it. But if I had liquid milk of any kind, it would simply scorch the milk. And if you've ever smelled burned milk, it's not pleasant. It's just not pleasant. And so freezing the milk first is vital. It is vital. If you've never worked with milks in your soap, and you're a soap maker, I highly recommend looking on Brambleberry's website. They have some really phenomenal videos and information on, or their YouTube, on working with milks and soaps. Because you'd think it would just be super simple. There's a few different ways you can do it. You can make a milk lye solution like I am doing, or I'm going to show you my recipe quick. Hopefully you can see this, but see there's water. Let me see, can you see it? There's water and there's lye. And so what you would do, there's 68.99 grams of lye. What you could do is water discount to 68.99 grams of breast milk, or not breast milk, water, do water. And then when you go to mix your base oils, you could take 120 minus 68, so that difference, and add the milk, whether it's goat's milk or breast milk or almond milk, whatever milk you're using, and add it right to the base oils. So hopefully that made sense. You discount to the exact amount of ice or water or whatever you're going to do, and then use that difference and put that amount of liquid of milk into your base oils, and use it kind of as an additive rather than in the lye solution. It just really depends on what you want to do. This way is a little bit more putsy because sometimes it like gets curdly or yellow or burns. I've honestly heard it said that if it takes shorter than 15 minutes to prepare your lye solution when working with a milk lye solution, that it was too fast and you're probably going to burn your milk. Already this is heating up. I'm going to get my thermometer. This thermometer I also got on Amazon. So it's 88.1. It's not like blazing hot, but it's definitely hotter than frozen milk. And yeah. I've had moms that have babies with skin conditions or issues with other soaps ask me to make breast milk soaps. Like I said, I don't do it widespread, but I have done it for people that I know and for myself as well, for my family, because I know what's going into it. And yeah, it's just something that's lovely, but I don't want to do it for a complete stranger, you know what I'm saying? I just feel more comfortable doing it for myself or for friends and family. That looks just about all completely melted. So, yeah, I think it is. And it didn't heat up too much. Like I said, this is a really small batch, and normally I would not, good, it's 87. Normally I would not chuck all of that lye in right off the bat. I would be slowly adding it bit by bit. But since this is such a small batch, I was not worried about it scorching because it was all completely frozen. All right, so now I'm going to move on to getting my base oils prepared. I always use a screw top container when I am preparing my lye solution. These are old cornstarch containers, and they must have a recycle code of either 2 or 5 in order to be lye safe. So you want to make sure you're safe when you're dealing with soap, when you're dealing with caustic materials. Also, a screw top lid is for safety. So if this spills over, nothing's going to spill out. There's not even a possibility because it's screwed on. It's just another safety measure. Even though I don't have any children or pets in this room with me, it could hurt me. It could spill somewhere that I don't see and have a hard time cleaning it all up. So just for safety, I always like to have a screw top lid on. This is another thing also for my family. Some are allergic to pork or pig, anything pig related. So I have some beef tallow that I rendered myself, and I store that in the refrigerator. I know you don't necessarily have to, but I like to. It does have a slightly higher melting point, I have found, than lard. So it does take a little bit longer to prepare a tallow soap, but it's a really nice, it makes a nice bar. 53. And I formulated this recipe by myself from scratch. It was family approved. They've all tried it, and it responds really well. They respond really well. We have a lot of allergies in our home, and so it's really nice to have the option of being able to create products that my family can use without fear, without reactions, and I know what we're dealing with, which is really cool. So I'm going to melt this down. forgot to mention also, I am adding some beet sugar because one of my family members has allergies to cane sugar, but sugar adds a lot of bubble to the bar. So I'm going to add it to the hot ingredients because that way it can start to incorporate and dissolve. The breast milk also has natural sugars in it. Any milk soap is going to have a slightly more luxurious bubble effect in the bar. But I just like to really hype it up, especially for a few of the members of my family. They just love a really good bubbly bar. So it doesn't clean you more or less. It's just something about having a lot of bubbles in your soap. It's magical. So I'm having this cocoa butter just melt down in the heat of being melted. It just takes a minute. I just want to make sure all of the ingredients that were solid at room temperature are melting down completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain this in. There might be some, yeah, look at that, it's turned yellow. Some of those solids from the milk fat have already started to saponify. That is normal. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with this. It's actually, sometimes you get a really pungent smell, but there's no smell, at least that I can smell from a couple feet away. So this is perfectly fine. And I'm going to blend this up. It doesn't take long to blend a batch of this size, not at all. And here's the fragrance oil as well as that blue clay. And I measured out exactly the proper amount for this particular fragrance oil. Now, fragrance oils are not just universal. You can't just throw however much you want to throw in there. And for one batch, it might be a certain amount, but another has to have a different amount. The reason is because every fragrance oil has a specific usage rate. You can't just throw it in like a stew. It has to be exact. This particular fragrance oil is a more masculine one. It's actually the cologne that I've made for my husband. It's called Blue Sugar. It's a higher end fragrance cologne duplication. And the maximum usage rate is only 5% for this. So if I put more than that, it could actually damage your skin. It could actually burn you like a chemical burn. So I have to research each and every one of my fragrance oils and make sure that I'm using the usage rate. And max usage rate means that's the ceiling. Like, you don't want to use, that's like, don't use anymore. So I used, I think 4.5 is what I did, because I want a good strong one, but I don't want to burn anyone's skin. So I'm going to blend this up a little more. All right. Now I am using a mold that I've never used before. I ordered it specifically for a project that I'm working on. I'm so excited. Nothing like a good spoiler alert there, right? So this is an individual cavity mold. I think the bars should be about 3 ounces each. That's how much I measured off for them, but we'll see. That's why this is kind of a test batch. This is my first time using these molds, and I just really want to see how much they will hold. And it might even be more. I don't know. We'll see. Because it looks like I'm going to have batter left over. I do have 2 of these molds, so I might have to whip out the other one. I will. I'll have to whip out the other one. Fill that one a little bit more. This is going to be beautiful. And the fragrance oil has a high vanillin content. It's 7% for this one. So these, I wanted to make them dark because they're just going to turn dark anyways. Wow, so these must be about 2.5 ounces in each of these cavities, which, darn it, I thought they were going to be more. Well, it's all right. It's going to be great. It's going to be great no matter what happens. Let's see. Is there one that could take a little more on? This one could take a little more on. There. These are setting up nicely already. All right. Well, these are gorgeous. These I will probably silicone molds, individual cavity ones, usually wait a little longer than my loaf mold to unmold. So this will probably be, I don't know, probably be a full 24 hours for these. But thanks for coming along, guys, and watching this video.